Morning. It's Wednesday morning. This is the Old Tech Bloke channel, and I thought I'd put up quite a quick video, hopefully, talking a little bit about my experience of moving from the Blue Yeti to the Audio-Technica AT2020 microphone, which I'm now speaking into. Let me just move this slightly. It's been an interesting experience, to say the least. When I started this channel on the 1st of June, I bought myself the Blue Yeti because after reading all of the reviews, it seemed overall to be the best option. It had a whole range of polar patterns, although I never used any more than the cardioid. It was straightforward plug and play. And from the minute I set it up to the minute I switched over to this AT2020, it gave me no trouble at all. Everything, all the gain levels and everything were just set on the midpoint. And as you saw, I used to have it hanging up around here, not particularly close to my mouth by any stretch of the imagination. And I could sit back and it picked up everything, to the extent that I actually used the noise suppression filter within OBS to try and cut some of the background noise out. But generally, apart from it weighing a ton, you could use it in a gym, it was great. So why did I look at changing? Well, in a nutshell, one, I wanted to explore what the difference was with an XLR mic, just out of pure curiosity. So it was a new toy to play with, if I'm honest. But also, I'm going to be moving part of this recording setup down into a cabin at the bottom of the garden. So I had a need for two mics rather than just the one. So I went ahead and decided to go the XLR route this time. Not necessarily because it's better, but it gives me a little bit more in terms of options for expanding in the future. The AT2020 comes well recommended. I was looking at different reviews of it against the Rode NT1A. And overall, this little microphone seemed to get the better reviews as an all-rounder. So I went for this. It's not been pain-free. Let me just say that. But I suppose looking back, neither was the Yeti. So just to give you a little bit of a ramble, I decided to go the full blue route when I set up the channel. And as well as buying the Blue Yeti, I bought the Compass boom arm from Blue, and also the Radius shock mount from Blue. They turned out not to be great buys. The Compass boom, unfortunately, I've got the boom arm mounted on my windowsill, and it's not completely level. And what was happening was the Compass boom arm wouldn't stay in one place, and it would just drift round as I was talking. So I ended up swapping that for this Rode PSA1 boom arm, which has generally been great. Also, the Radius shock mount, I was really disappointed in it because it's not a cheap mount. The Blue Yeti is really, really heavy, and I found that the Radius wouldn't stay in position and it kept drooping and drooping down. So what I ended up buying and replacing the Radius with was a cheap Yeti shock mount from Knox Gear, which was great. Now, I'm not necessarily going to blame Blue too much for the boom arm because my setup isn't perfect, just mounted on a windowsill. But I would have thought the Radius, the Radius 3 shock mount would have been a little bit more robust, especially for the £50, £60 or whatever I paid for it. Having said that, I did lose one of the washers that attaches the Blue Yeti to the radius, and I contacted Blue over in the States, and I have to say they were great, and they just sent me a new washer. In fact, they sent me more than a new washer. They sent me a whole pack of the nuts and bolts that come with the Yeti. So great customer service. So I moved over to this AT2020 and I set it up this Monday. And I initially set it up just like I'd had the Blue Yeti, up here, hanging upside down. That turned out to be quite a mistake. What I found out quite quickly was that the AT2020 was nowhere near as sensitive as the Blue Yeti. And I hadn't picked up on this when I was producing my video. In fact, I was using headphones that were plugged into my Scarlett Solo interface, and the volume coming through my headphones seemed fine. And I uploaded the video, and once I played it back on YouTube, I soon realised that the audio was way too low, and I had to do a quick fix. Unfortunately, by that stage, I'd already deleted the video, so I had to use the YouTube downloader, download the video in 1920 by 1080 format, put it into Kdenlive, and re-render it with and increase the gain. Not ideal, really, and it was all a little bit on the hoof and putting it back up there. So, why was the volume so low on this AT2020? Well, it was a couple of reasons. So reason number one, in the bottom left corner of the screen, you can see my Scarlett Solo. You need one of these, an audio interface for an XLR mic. It basically amplifies the signal from the microphone. And because I'd only been used to the Blue Yeti, the gain on the Blue Yeti was just set halfway. I just assumed I'd put the same settings into this, and off I went. Unfortunately, that just wasn't enough gain for this mic. I've got it currently at around 75%, which is what it seems to need without clipping. So, I didn't have the volume turned up high enough. That's one thing. So let me just knock that off. Secondly, having the microphone up here and just kind of speaking straight ahead, whilst the Blue Yeti might have been able to pick it up, this microphone is clearly designed for you to be 3 to 6 inches away from it. So I needed to sort out the boom arm and change everything round. Every time I've seen reviews of this, the mic has been this way up rather than hanging down. And because of my position in this room, I can understand why. If I had this hanging down, it would cover my face completely. So I've rejigged it, and it's now upside down, and it means that I can get much closer to it, and it seems to be working pretty well. What else did I do? Oh yes, because the Blue Yeti picked up absolutely everything, I actually had the noise suppression filter on OBS, and so that was cutting down the volume even more. And last but not least, I had the Scarlett Solo plugged into my powered USB hub. It didn't seem to like that. It seemed to work, but when I transferred the Scarlett plug straight into my machine, it made quite a significant difference. So it's been a bit of a learning experience. And what would I say overall? Well, before we go any further, I've produced a few clips. See what you think. This is me testing my USB microphone, the Blue Yeti. This is me testing my Audio-Technica AT2020. So, what do you think? Let's just listen to them again. This is me testing my USB microphone, the Blue Yeti. This is me testing my Audio-Technica AT2020. So, to my ears at least, I would say the AT2020 seems to have a clearer output. There's not as much crackling or static. The signal certainly seems to be a lot smoother. I'm no audio expert, so this is just what sounds good to me. What do you think? I'd appreciate your comments. So that's all I wanted to show you, really. I've also been looking at perhaps hooking up a mixer to it so I can have some sort of EQ control. I don't know if that would be a waste of money, to be honest. And also, because I could only afford a cheapish mixer, what I'd probably have to do is use the mixer's preamp and pipe that in to the input jack on the Focusrite Scarlett. I don't know whether I'm going to lose some quality with that, because from what I've read, the Scarlett's preamp is really high quality. So something that I'm still throwing around in the mix. But anyway, that's it for this video. Hope you found it informative. Just sharing my experiences so far with you.